Hello folks, this is Sula once again. Welcome to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is taken from a ranked game, and wait, why are there two Masters players in my Diamond 4 ranked game? That's a little bit odd. They must have done something very strange with their matchmaking rating to be matched up in this particular game. But as mentioned, this is taken from a ranked game. I don't play a whole lot of ranked games, but I had a little time and we weren't playing double up mode, the co-op version of Teamfight Tactics on this particular night. So I said, all right, let's go ahead, give this a try, just see what happens. I think that my account was Diamond 4 around 50 LP right when I was playing this. So I was a little surprised to see two players with the purple borders on the loading screen. Also one person in Platinum, so they're probably very close to Diamond. Probably like very, very high Platinum 1 or something like that. So I don't know what was going on with matchmaking, but that's who we got in this game. The theme for this game is going to be talking about when to drop traits, or more specifically, when to go down to lower ratings of the same trait. That is the opposite of how the game is normally played. Normally, as the game goes along, you go into higher versions of the same trait. Like, I have a Darius and I have a Morgana here. And, you might start the game playing Syndicate 3, but then as the game goes on, you go into Syndicate 5, maybe Syndicate 7 if you can get a Syndicate emblem. You get the idea. You're trying to get usually better versions of the same trait. But what we're going to focus on here is when that is not the right play and when it's actually better to drop down to lower versions of the same trait, which we're going to see later on in this match. All right, first augment here. I had the choice to play Nice Edge, Debonair, or to get Meditation. I really have not had much success playing Debonair boards. I just haven't done very well when playing them, so I try to stay away from playing those boards. It's not that the trait is necessarily bad, it's just very finicky in my opinion, because you have to both get the VIP unit that you want and also then get a 2-star version of that unit, and it's just, like I said, kind of finicky, a little difficult to put it all together. So very playable in this patch, but I don't think it's one of the strongest options in this patch. And here I'm just going through looking for what everybody's playing here. The person who took True Twos has already gotten 2-star Warwick off of that, so that's going to be very strong in the early game, but in the late game they'll basically be like they don't have an augment, so strong early game, weaker late game. In any case, the augment I actually did end up picking was the Meditation augment, and this gives extra mana regen to any unit that doesn't have items, so it lends itself towards not itemizing units. Now, one of the downsides to this is the fact that it looks like I'm kind of going into a scrap board of some kind here. I have scrap plus bodyguard, the Poppy and the Darius for frontline, and then an Ezreal and a Ziggs for backline. And I was like, there's not a lot of synergy between Scrap and Meditation. Meditation is you don't want to itemize units. Scrap is you want to spread out lots of components everywhere to roll more Scrap items. But this was, I think, the best option. I didn't want to be taking Nice Edge. That's good for certain team comps, but not the ones that I generally spend a lot of time playing, which are more back-to-front team compositions. Although in retrospect, Knife's Edge would have turned out okay for the team comp I eventually ended up going into at the later stages of the game. But I don't want to play Ezreal in like the second row right now. I'd rather take Meditation, and that actually will end up being really helpful throughout this game as well. So I have 2 out of 3 Yordles. I was thinking maybe I'm playing into Yordles in this game. That was definitely a possibility, but then I also get this Blitzcrank, and I'm like, well, there is the possibility to play 4 Bodyguards as well. I don't know how strong that is, though. I don't think 4 Bodyguards is particularly good in this patch. It was very good in set 6, but it has not been too good in set 6.5 because there's a lot of damage in this set. There's a lot of backline access, so like just playing 4 Bodyguards and then like maybe Ezreal behind that is not going to be that good because Ezreal's just going to die and then I'll have no damage and I'll have a bunch of tanks. So I'm trying to debate what I want to, trying to decide, like trying to debate over what I want to play. For right now, I'm kind of playing through this Ezreal as a Last Whisper, which is going to be a good item long term. But I will need to find, hopefully, a 2-star Ezreal. If I can't find a 2-star Ezreal, I'm going to have to find something better to transition into, because this is okay for stage 2, but it won't last for too much longer after that. These Hextech pulses also causing some issues here in the early game because it's tough to get through those shields. Now, I actually thought I was going to win the match right here, or win the round right here, but then I end up having my Ezreal gets taken out there by the Ziggs on the other team. And the redemption on that Ziggs that they rolled a scrap redemption. It actually ended up being pretty useful in that fight because otherwise Poppy's shield tosses would have just chipped down the Ezreal and killed it over time. Anyway, here I do want to try to clear my bench. I want to try to get up to 10 gold. So I was like, all right, I can do this by selling the Leona and selling the 2 Dariuses. That gets me to 10. Obviously, Leona is a little bit tankier than Blitzcrank is. And Darius, I was only 1 away from 2-starring. But like I said, I don't think I want to play 4 bodyguards. I think that's too much tank, not enough damage. So we're just going to make sure that we can hit 10 gold here for the upcoming, before we go into the upcoming carousel. And that'll at least have my econ off to a decent start here. I don't love the games where I'm like super duper poor. Anyway, this person's clearly going to be playing Warwick. Warwick reroll is super popular in this particular patch version. They have the instant injection, so they get the Chemtech bonus from the start of combat. That's a very good augment to get if you're playing Warwick. Good news is we just barely clutched that up. Blitzcrank's on like 1% health, Ziggs is on 1% health. Poppy kind of untouched for whatever reason, so narrowly managed to win that one. I have gone win-loss-win, which is not the best for streaking purposes, but still leaves me in relatively good shape. All right, so I have a needlessly large rod on my bench, so I can always look to try to get some use out of that item. I also could look to take maybe a sword or a bow or something like that for Ezreal. So I was looking at the options here. When I see the belt get taken, I decided I'll go ahead and grab this sword, because that way I can now roll a sword item on Ezreal, which is what he wants because he's an AD champion, and it's on a 2 gold Swain there, so feels like it was probably the best that I could do, except maybe I could have taken the Vex that was a 3 gold champ. That wouldn't have been bad. But oh, look at this. I get exactly what I'm looking for. There is an Echo in the store, so that's going to let me play 4 scrap. Again, not the greatest synergy with Meditation, which gives me mono regen on units that don't have items, so Poppy, Blitzcrank, and Ziggs. But it does mean that I can get up to 4 scrap, which is going to be very good in the early game. Will fall off later on in the game, but very good for the early game. And we will roll a scrap item on Ezreal, and we'll roll a scrap item on Echo. So they will both get full items here. And if I get like a tier or something, I can stuff it on Ziggs, and I would get another scrap item as well, plus getting the extra shield benefit. So that was just about the best unit I could find in the store there. The one thing that I'm missing would be 1 more Ezreal, so I have 2-star instead of 1-star Ezreal. So I'm continuing to cross my fingers and hope I'll find 1 more Ezreal, which would be really nice. This time the front line holds up long enough, Ez is able to kill everything. And Ziggs, by the way, Ziggs does the most damage in that fight. Yeah, it turns out that having Meditation's pretty good on someone like him here in the early game. It means that it's basically like we have a Scholar trait in, but like a mixture of Scholar traits somewhere in between Scholar 1 and Scholar 2. Scholar 1 is 5 mana per second. Scholar 2 is 10 mana per second. Meditation, the gold version of Meditation, is 7 mana per second. So with that 7 mana per second, Ziggs actually got off a lot of spell casts, and it looks like his bombs did the most damage. He is the only 2-star in my backlines. I also have Poppy on my front lines. And I definitely would not mind tossing in some kind of Yordle unit to get up to Yordles. I am playing 2 out of 3 Yordles. Usually if you have 2 of them in, you might as well toss in a 3rd one to get the Yordle trait in play. But I don't want to buy this Gnar, or either of these Gnars, because that'll drop me down below 20 gold, and I really don't want to do that this early in the game. It's very important that you get your econ off to a good start so you can start getting that income rolling in, or that interest rolling in, excuse me. So there's a Warwick here. Do we have enough damage to kill the Warwick? I'm like, got a static shiv. Is this going to be enough? And it looks like it is, fortunately. Thank goodness. That Warwick had the static shiv, which is not a bad item on Warwick, but did not have a Rage Blade, did not have Titans, which are the items that cause him to scale throughout the fight. That's one of the reasons why he's such a difficult unit to deal with. If he's got those perfect items, Rage Blade, Titans, and Quicksilver Sash, you can't CC him at the start of the fight with the Quicksilver, and then Rage Blade plus Titans ramps him up. He gets full Titan stacks, he gets full Rage Blade stacks, and by the time you can CC him, he's just healing and attacking at a ridiculous rate. But fortunately, that Warwick, even though it was 2-star, did not have anywhere close to perfect items, so we're still able to win that fight. There's also a Mauls in the store, so that could be, in addition to just being a good unit in general, also could be something that gives me Arcanist trait, so that's a possibility. Also picked up Singed, because that could give me Innovators, if I'd want to play that. So now I have to decide how I want to do this. I can also put the tier on Ziggs if I want, so it will roll a scrap item if I do that. I decided, do I want to make Giant Slayer? I was like, I think I do. I could hold out to try to make like an Infinity Edge, which would be a better item to pair. But I was like, I have these item components. I think that I can make I think that I can probably get another glove down the road if I need it, because I did take that initial glove off the starting carousel. I also should have stuck this tier on Ziggs to roll another scrap item. I think that's a mistake. I think I was holding because I wanted to put it on Malzahar and play Malz at level 6. So I think that's why I didn't grab that there, but I probably should have just put that on Ziggs to roll a third scrap item, and then also get the extra scrap shield benefit. Ezreal would definitely benefit right now from having a slightly larger shield because he is about to die. And it looks like we were not sufficient to deal with this particular team comp. They've got the Debonair emblem, and they've got or double Debonair emblems. It looks like they found one from their augment and then got another one off the spatula item that was on that first carousel. So they're looking pretty strong. And then I end up tossing in. Oh, I see. I ended up tossing in the Singe to make Innovator trade. I think that's because my front line was on the weaker side. But damage is also hurting here too. So in retrospect, I'm wondering if Malls with the tier would not have been a better choice, because my damage situation is not good right now. I'm playing through a 1-star Ezreal with Giant Slayer plus Last Whisperer. I mean, items are not terrible, but like Ezreal's a 1-cost unit, and he's 1-starred, and that's not a lot of damage. But at least I do manage to have the at least I did manage to get the Innovation Scarab in, so that's a little bit more tankiness and a little bit more damage. This comp seems to have rolled a blue buff on Ziggs. Looks like they rolled a scrap item blue buff, so that's a little bit scary. Poppy was chipping away with shield tosses against that Ziggs. Now, do we have enough to finish this off? And it looks like we just barely do. And that's important because that person was on full win streak, so we managed to end their win streak and interrupt that. Oof. These augment choices. Golden Gifts, I definitely don't want that. That'll give me like 8 gold. Featherweights, I'm not playing a reroll comp, so I don't want that. So the only other option to take is Ludens, which I would not have been my choice either. On the plus side, I do have the option to... I do find the Seraphine in the store, and that means I can look to maybe play into 4 Innovators. And so I take out the Singed and play the Seraphine instead. So we still have 4 scrap in, and we've got Seraphine. Now I need to try to get a little bit more frontline because I don't think Poppy with no items can solo frontline here. And I do still have quite a few 1-stars in my team composition. I think it would have helped if I had put that tier on Ziggs, as I've said a couple of different times. By the way, the Warwick player, Chemtech Unity and a Chemtech Crest. Oof, pretty scary augments. I also have to call out the person that I think I just beat in the last round. They have chosen to take Tiny Titans for their gold augment. Maybe their options were really bad, but I don't suggest taking that one early in the game because it means you're going to be last pick on every single carousel for pretty much the rest of the game or very close to it. And it also means that you're basically going to be down in augment. Like you get the 35 HP, but you're basically down in augment. So I wouldn't recommend that early in the game. I think it's good for the 3rd augment. I don't think it's so good for the first 2. In any case, though, we are going to win that round, and we did pick up Ludens, which would not have been my choice, but it will give us a little bit of extra damage in our team comp. Whenever spells go off, then you get the little splash effect, just like Ludens in normal League of Legends. So that was the best of bad options because I didn't want to take the Golden Gifts, which would be almost completely useless. As I said, I might get like 1 item component and like 5 gold or something. Or I could have taken Featherweights, but that's only useful for reroll comps. Just make sure 1 and 2 cost units stronger, which I guess would have been good because I have the Ezreal. But no, that's really not what I was looking for there. All right, so now I have to decide what I'm going to pick here, and there's not a ton I really want, so I go ahead and grab the Chain Vest. Now, in retrospect, if I'd held off on assigning that sword, then potentially I could have made an Infinity Edge here, but, you know, that's water under the bridge at this point. I did not know that I was going to be able to get that. And I'm going to go ahead and make a frontline item instead. So I use it for a Gargoyle Stone Plate because my frontline is pretty sketchy right now. I don't think Poppy is the best user of this, but she's better than anyone else I have on my team right now. So, and I'll also grab the Vex because it doesn't cost me gold, and that is a possibility. It would actually make Yordle and Arcanist right now. And for that same reason, it looks like I'm not playing Mauls. So I'm going to go ahead and just sell that unit. You can also see why I really should have put that tier on Ziggs. The tier has just been sitting on my bench doing nothing for quite some time, when it could have been getting me a scrap item in all of these rounds and maybe helping me out. Maybe Ziggs rolls a blue buff or Archangels or something useful. Anyway, though, I still feel like I'm in reasonably good shape. I have decent items here for some kind of AD carry. Could be someone like Jin. If I could get an IE, these would be very good Jin items. Could be Aurelia. Could be Sivir, although these aren't great Sivir items. They would at least be playable Sivir items. Would be good items on Jace if I could find him for like a backline Jace, because I've kind of got an Innovators board or like a quasi Innovators board. And, I'm just kind of chilling here overall. I've certainly been getting a lot of Ziggs. I probably would have been close to 3-star Ziggs if I was holding these, but no, not doing that. I've got like half of a Morello's on the Echo, and which he can sometimes roll if he rolls that first scrap item. So I feel like my comp has been fine for this stage. I do feel like my comp is going to fall off pretty quickly if I can't put something stronger together. But I've banked enough HP by still... I'm basically like the highest HP in the lobby. Remember, that person player kid got the 35 from Tiny Titans. So, I'm actually, in terms of health lost, I've actually done better than anyone else in this lobby. But problems are, I don't have a lot of damage. I really need to move out of this Ezreal. This is not going to cut it. But I have not been able to find another unit that I think could use these items, these like AD items. I haven't been seeing a lot of like AD carries. I would have been willing to even switch into something like Senna, but I don't think I've seen any Sennas yet either. So here we go. We're down to 2 Warwicks. Can I ever kill the Warwick now that the Warwick has better itemization? No. I can't even kill the non-itemized Warwick, much less the one that has Titans plus QSS. So I knew I would lose that round, but hey, I only lost 6 health. That could have been a lot worse. And here I get some more Innovators, so I was like, oh, well, looks like we're probably playing into Innovators here. Doesn't look like I'm going to play into this Yordle. So I think what I do on this level up when I go to 7 here is drop the Poppy, play the Singed, and then add the Zillion, and then that's 5 Innovators. So I was pretty sure that was the play here. I do lose Bodyguard trait for that, but I maintain 4 scrap and I get up to 5 Innovators. So that's going fairly deep into 2 different traits, Innovators and also going into scrap. And then here I finally get a unit that I can use. I get an Aurelia, and I was like, well, Aurelia's got to be better than... Oh, and I also get the Morellos. So let's go ahead and make some of these changes. We're definitely going to put the Aurelia in. So there we go. And then now we can put the Innovators in. I think that I make that swap here. I don't know why I put the items on Poppy just to sell Poppy, but whatever. So put that in, and then we can put in the Zillion. And then I have to put Ezreal back in as well. And I think it's taking me a minute to figure this out. So I put Ezreal in, and then I need to get Zillion in. There we go. So there we go. 5 Innovator, 4 Scrap. As I said, going fairly deep into both of these traits. And then I'll clear my board. So some of these units were ones that I could have potentially played, but did not end up playing. Now Aurelia is going to be much better at using these items than a 1-star Ezreal. So yeah, she will dash around getting resets. I'm playing her on the Spotlight, as is typical for when people play Aurelia. They usually play her on the Spotlight. And so I'm hoping that this will now put me in a good position to get up to level 8. Maybe I can find 2-star Aurelia. Maybe I can look to play into another unit. And like, there's a Jhin as well. I would not mind playing the Jhin. I almost wish I had found the Jhin like 1 level earlier, because then I would have just put the items on Jhin, and then played Clockwork. But now that the items are on Aurelia, I don't want to sell Aurelia. I want to hold her in my team composition for the time being. And we'll just see if we hit 2-star Aurelia, hit 2-star Jhin. We'll probably play one of these, but it'll depend on what we hit. And, if we hit more Jins, then we'll move out of the scrap. And if we hit more Aurelias, then we'll move into Striker, that kind of thing. So I definitely want to keep an eye out for Gnar, because he's going to be needed if I play Aurelia, since he has both Striker and Socialite. And then I also will want to keep an eye out for Seraphine, because she is another Innovator. Or not Innovator, she's another Socialite unit, because I will need more ranks of the Spotlight. If I'm not playing... if I have no lifesteal on Aurelia, I have to... get to Socialite 3. By the way, here we're actually going to kill the Draven, but I think the Zillion wins this matchup. Zillion against Seraphine, but Zillion's going to win that one. So I was like, well, I only lose 5 HP. That's not so bad. But of course, I would prefer to win these rounds as opposed to losing them. All right, so there's a Gnar. So remember, I said I'm going to look out for those units. If I end up playing Aurelia, then that's the unit I'm going to want to have in my team comp. And that's a unit I could just play at level 8. Pick up Striker, pick up a 2nd rank of Socialite. But yeah, overall, I'm feeling pretty good at this stage of the game. I'm just hoping now I can hit a 2-star version of Jhin or a 2-star version of Aurelia. I'd also would like to get slightly better frontline if possible. I'd love to get... I obviously would love to find Jace that could replace this Singed. And who knows, maybe we'll play into more Innovators. Maybe we'll play... I don't think I'm going to play Scrap 6 at this point, but you never know. I'm trying to keep our options open. I haven't seen any Sivir, so it doesn't look like I'm going to play heavily into the Striker trait at this point in time. Unfortunately, Aurelia charges at the Vex on this other team. She gets stuck on the Bramble Vest, which is something that can happen. And she does not get any resets off. So you see what happens when she doesn't get resets. My team falls apart pretty quickly. And that was not quite what I was looking for. All right, I will have third pick off this carousel. I'm trying to figure out what I want here. I wouldn't mind getting more items for Aurelia because she's one of the key units that I'm looking to play through right now. I've got a tier on my bench, so I'm not sure that there's a good way to use that. I'm like trying to figure out what can I do with this. I was like, I think I'm going to take the Sivir here because this can be potentially a Quicksilver Sash if I would get another Brawler's Club. It could also be a Bloodthirster for Sivir as well, and then I would not have to play Socialite 3. I could just play Socialite 2 if I would get another sword. So also a possibility. And now we're going to go to level 8 and see what we can find. I'm looking for 2-cost carries, or 4-cost carries, excuse me. There's a Tom here. I was like, is there any way I can play this in this comp? I don't know if there is. Ultimately, I think it's no. So now I've got 2 Jins, and I've got 2 Jins, and I've got 2 Aurelia. So I'm like, which one of these am I going to hit? And then I hit Aurelia. So I was like, all right, looks like it's Aurelia we're playing this game. Looks like we're going to play the Aurelia. And then I just toss in the Orianna because it picks up Clockwork with Zillion. But then I was like, oh, wait, I actually need to get more ranks of the Spotlight in play because I only have Socialite 1 right now, which means that Aurelia really would like to get some up to Socialite 3 so that she starts healing. So I'm going to have to do some reconfiguring of my team composition. And sadly, Cho ate Aurelia in this fight. I'm trying to remember what the mutant ability was in this game, and it's escaping me right now, but that mutant board ends up winning. It looks like it's the Predator one because, or the Voidborn, because Mauls did a ton of true damage. All right, out of my options here, I realized Aurelia has a slot open, and I was like, oh, I can play Assassin Aurelia. Oh, okay, let's go ahead and do that. So I will go ahead and make that change. Then I'm going to toss the Gnar in because Gnar is going to make another rank of Socialite. And then now I'm kind of stuck with an awkward decision. I was like, well, now I have Socialite 2 in, but that still means that Aurelia doesn't heal on the damage dealt. And she doesn't have like a Bloodthirster or anything. It's a shame I have the Giant Slayer and not Infinity Edge. That should actually be quite a bit stronger if I had Infinity Edge instead of the Giant Slayer. But it's not terrible. It's good against high health targets. So if there's anything that anyone playing like Bruisers or 3-star units, it's actually really good against them. But I do want to get another rank of Socialite, and I was like, oh man, what do I take out of this comp, though? By the way, I see this person is positioning for me. The detail I failed to notice was that they're playing Future Sight, so I should have realized that this person is 100% about to hit me because they just picked up Future Sight, and they know that they're about to hit my board. So I should have reacted appropriately to that. If I had noticed that they had Future Sight, I would have been like, oh, they're 100% positioning for me. I thought they were just positioning to hit the Spotlight tile in general. But Aurelia gets hit by a Zephyr. Aurelia gets, I think she got hit by a Shroud as well. And yeah, you see what happens. We actually came reasonably close to beating this board, which is not surprising, which is a little bit surprising given how badly the fight played out. But still, that didn't work. And at this point, I was like, wait a minute. I've lost 4 rounds in a row. I was like, wait, what? Well, I've lost 4 rounds in a row? I feel like my board's pretty good. Why am I losing all these rounds? I was like, what am I missing here? And I was like, oh yeah, I really do need to get Socialite 3 in. But what do I take out to get to Socialite 3? I was like, well, I could drop Clockwork, but is that good? I got a 2-star Orianna. I feel like that's a pretty good unit to play in my team composition. I can't take out Assassin. I don't want to take out Gnar. That doesn't help me in any way. I'm like, what do I do here? And so I'm still trying to figure this out. I actually get some nice units, Zeri and Victor, but I can't play them in this comp. I'll pick them up, but I really have no way to get them in. And I was like, let's see, another Zillion, another Seraphine. So it's like I'm finding some units here. I do hit the 2-star Gnar. I'm still trying to figure this one out, though. I was like, I don't think what I have in here is quite right. I was like, Seraphine? All right, I can play Seraphine, and that'll give me Socialite 3, but I just dropped a 2-star Orianna. It's like, was that really the best move I could make? Not sure about that. In any case, I have to make use of these items as well, so I go ahead and make a Chalice on Echo. I'll look to reposition him. And then I have a bow and I have a glove left over. And I realize that I can do better with these particular items. I could look to take that glove and use it for a Shroud of Stillness with the chain vest that I have on Singe. So I'm going to look to do that. And then I just have a leftover bow. So once again, I lost another round. I lost 5 rounds in a row here. And like my good early game has kind of gone to waste here because I've lost so many rounds in the mid game. I was like, This is not right. This is not right. So what we should do here is we should just move out of the Ezreal. This is better. This is going to be definitely better. So I lose Innovator. I lose the Innovator Bear. I drop down to just Innovator 4 from Innovator 5. And that's normally something that I wouldn't do. But I do think that this makes me stronger overall. Because now I get Orianna in. That picks up Enchanter. And it puts Clockwork back in the comp again. Plus, remember, I have this Chalice, which is going to get really good value on Orianna, who also gets the meditation benefit. Remember that from early in the game? All my units that don't have items generate mana much faster. So Ori now will get that mana generation, plus she gets the Chalice AP. So it's like she gets, what, like 30, I think it's 30 AP on the Chalice, plus she's generating mana much, much, much faster. That also applies to Seraphine as well. She's also getting the faster mana regen. So that round goes much better than the previous one. I was like, oh yeah, this is it. This is what we want. We want to drop down to a lower tier of Innovator, and we want to get the maintain Socialite 3, but drop down to a lower rank of Innovator, bring back Clockwork, add a rank of Enchanter, put that 2-star Ori, which is a very good unit, onto the board. And then I get lucky and hit a Jace as well. He's going to be much better than Singed. Even a 1-star Jace is going to be much better. So looks like this is our board. And I think that this is the strongest that I can play right now. I also made the Shroud of Stillness, which is going to be a big deal. And I made use of that leftover bow to roll a scrap item on Echo. Bow is one of his least useful items, but whatever. He'll get something. It's the best way I can make use of that bow, which otherwise will just get stranded and not do anything. It certainly can't go in Aurelia. She's fully itemized. So yeah, these last 2 rounds, all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, this is a much better team comp. 2 Clockwork, 2 Enchanter is much better than 5 Innovator. So again, a good lesson. I'm sure people have played a lot of Teamfight Tactics and are already well aware of this. But a good lesson about how just playing higher ranks of the trait is not necessarily always better. Now, on this carousel, I really wish that I could take that. I really wish that I could take the Infinity Edge and just put it on Aurelia somehow. I wish I had an item remover and I could get the Giant Slayer off in favor of Infinity Edge. That's not a possibility, sadly. But instead, I'm going to take this Quicksilver Sash, which might seem like kind of an odd item to take, but I'm going to put it on Frontline Jace and just use it to finish itemizing him. Quicksilver Sash is actually pretty good on frontliners because it makes them CC immune for the early rounds. It also synergizes really well with the Shroud of Stillness because they both give dodge chance. And I just like randomly make this Singed. I was like, would I play Singed? Maybe. So there is the possibility to go to level 9 and play Singed, and then that would get Innovator 5 back in the comp. But I also think I can do better than that. So I'll hold the Singed for right now because it doesn't cost money. But I also see this Galio in the store, and I rolled past a Galio earlier in the game, but now I'm going to hold this one because I think the proper play is to go to 9 and then play Galio at 9. He can just slot in for one of my Socialite units because Galio is just such a good unit, and I'm a little lacking in crowd control on this team. I kind of have Orianna, and that's it. By the way, I just effortlessly sliced through another team there. Boy, the difference between when Aurelia gets resets and when she doesn't get resets is just absolutely insane. Now that I've got all this proper... now that I've got like the proper team comp around her, she just looks and feels so much stronger. It is a weakness of this setup, though, that I am tied to the Socialite spot. So anyone who is paying attention can Zephyr this tile. They can Shroud this tile, although that Shroud doesn't do that much for Aurelia because she has low mana cost. I think her mana cost is 40. It's either 30 or 40. Not looking at it right now. So, yeah, anyone who's paying attention can like work around this tile. But otherwise, I think I'm in pretty good shape. And I've been getting off some really, really good Shrouds. And in fact, I get off another good one here. Now, this person's really dangerous. Remember, this is the person who earlier in the game took Tiny Titans. And they're all the way down to 4 HP right now. But they have 2-star Zeri and they have 2-star Ari. And I was like, oh man, can we deal with this comp? I would love to beat this person and knock them out of the lobby. So we're going to lose most of our team. But now it's down to just Ari and me and 4 utility units. And I was like, oh, is Ari going to beat us? But Cillian, the time bomb, the time bomb. Oh! So yeah, we're going to win and knock them out of the lobby in 6th place. And that has to be so tilting for them because they took that Tiny Titans earlier in the game, got all the extra health, and they still went out in 6th place. They had just made 2-star Zeri and 2-star Ari. Like, that was a pretty strong board, but thank goodness I got off a really good Shroud at the start of combat. And it was like Aurelia died, and I had like 4 support units left alive. and Zillion got off the God tier time bomb to stop Ari just long enough for auto attacks from like Zillion and Seraphine to finally kill that unit. So yeah, crazy stuff. What an entertaining fight that was. All right, so I'm trying to get to 9 now so I can put Galio in. I was thinking about this, and I was like, what do I do here? Oh, I just removed Seraphine. Because what is Seraphine doing in this comp right now? I don't need her because I can, if I replace her with Galio, I'm just at 3 Innovator. I'm at like 4 Innovator right now. So just replace Seraphine with Galio. That's going to be a much better unit. And then I'll put this Titans on Galio, and he'll give me lots of CC. As far as the other items I got out of the Dragon, I picked up another Chalice, and it was a little sad now that I had the bow on Echo, because I would have loved to have put another Chalice on him, but that's okay. I put it on Oriana instead, and now I have a Death Cap on Oriana too. So she doesn't get the meditation bonus anymore, and here you see this enemy team Victor just annihilate me. Unfortunately, Victor's ult goes off and just shreds my whole team. That's why I need Galio to CC units like that. So Oriana does not cast as quickly now because she lacks meditation bonus, but on the plus side, she now hits immensely harder because she has the death cap in place, plus her own chalice. And I wanted to position her here so that she was giving the bonus to Aurelia. So Aurelia's getting double chalice bonus. Now, it's not going to be that good on her. She scales off AD, not AP, but it will cause her base ability to do a little bit more damage. You can make a fair argument that Ori should have been positioned on the other side of Echo so that she was getting double chalice bonus, but I was trying to play through Aurelia here. And look at this. Another great Shroud. Love those Shroud of Stillnesses. So we're going to get Aurelia into the back line. Well, no, never mind. She actually got Zephyred here. Whoops. But the good news is Oriana is on it. Galio plus Ori, so much CC, putting that Warwick into the bounce house. And Warwick does not get to do anything in that fight. He just got hit by Ori and then knocked up by Galio, and then he just died. So even though we lost the... even though Aurelia managed to get Zephyred in that fight, still end up winning it. Little bit of a shame that it was a ghost round. I would have liked to have dealt damage to the other player, but I think they got knocked out of the game anyway. I think they were the player that got knocked out. All right, so we're getting down to nitty-gritty here. There's only 4 of us left. I do manage to top 4 this game, and we're all on 20 HP or less, so I can probably lose 1 more round, but I cannot afford to lose 2 more rounds. And at this point, I'm trying again to position, trying to hit these teams that have their carries on the left-hand side. This person just made 3-star Malzahar, though, and that's a bad sign. And they've already made 3-star Cho, so I was like, I have no idea if I have enough damage to get through this team. But guess what? Remember how I had that Giant Slayer on Aurelia? Yeah, Giant Slayer, really good against this team composition because it does more damage to high-health targets. Now, it's still not enough to win, but at least we do get relatively close. Relatively close. So now I truly am on my last life here. I'm thinking about what to take on this carousel. There wasn't really anything I wanted, so I went for the high-risk, high-reward play. I'm going to take the Galio and just cross my fingers that there's a Galio in the store, because I think that's the only way I can win this lobby. I think I'm going out in 3rd unless I can hit 2-star Galio. So none of those items are going to hurt me. Let's just cross our fingers, and oh, it is there! Oh, the high roll. So... I mean, like I said, I don't think I beat either of these comps without 2-star Galio, so why the heck not? Let's just cross our fingers, accept that we're going 3rd if we don't find Galio, and then just do our best, play for it. So I managed to hit, and now I've got the 2-star Galio here. So I know who I'm going to hit. I'm up against the Victor comp, so can I position to deal with this? I'm going to try to move my Shroud slightly, and I think they reposition their Victor to dodge the Shroud, which would be the correct move. Yeah, they do reposition to dodge the Shroud, but Aurelia is going to get in the back line. Now, she was also shrouded, but she gets on the squishy carries. Watch Victor. Oh, Victor got charged by Aurelia. He never got his cast off. Charged by Aurelia, and then the Galio went off. Victor did not get to cast in that fight. So it is an easy win, and we're going to knock that player out in 3rd place. Galio plus Aurelia. Woo! They were so busy dodging the Shroud that they ended up putting their Victor right next to where Aurelia jumped. She deleted 1 target and then right onto the Victor. So now this will be the last round of the game. I have 2 out of 3 Jaces, but that's probably not going to matter. So what can I do against this board? I'm going to try to Shroud them, and they're going to start moving around. I see that they shift the Seraphine over to the right, and they're shifting other units over to the right. So I was like, all right, I need to try to get this Shroud on them as well. So I'm going to reposition here. at the last second. So I'm going to get the Shroud on Cho, and I'm going to get it on Seraphine. It's not on Mauls, but Mauls is blue, so the Shroud's not really going to do much. So watch, Aurelia goes on Cho, but she's got a Giant Slayer, which is exactly the item I need here. So she actually kills the Cho. Now she's in the backlines killing other units. She kills the Rek'Sai, she kills the Seraphine. All that's left is the Mauls, and we've got it. We got it, boys. So we're actually going to win the lobby on 4 HP in a super close fight. So remember how I talked on and on and on about how Infinity Edge would have been better than Giant Slayer? Well, in 95% of the situations, Infinity Edge would be better, but not in that situation. Giant Slayer, super clutch in dealing with that mutant comp because it does all that extra damage against high health targets. And they had a Cho 3 and a Malzahar 3, so ended up having exactly what I needed there. What a close game, really exciting. And it ends up, I end up getting promoted to Diamond 3. So we'll see how far this goes. I don't know how many ranked games I'll play. We'll see how much fun I'm having, but wanted to share this one at least. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, see you guys soon.